it's not like you're wading in self-esteem. You're like up to your neck in like bubbles, just like a nice hot tub of self-esteem.
Yeah, it's not like acting as if
Yes.
in an empty tub where I'm like, I'm a goddess, and there's no water in there.
It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margie McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margie McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host.
Hello, I am Ramona Ramirez. Margie, it's lovely to see you.
You too. Happy day after Thanksgiving.
Happy day after Thanksgiving. Yeah. And now commences the holiday rush, and I already feel behind, and it's stupid. It's fucking stupid to already feel behind.
Behind on what?
Behind on Christmas, behind on decorating. Like, Thanksgiving was so late this year that it feels like I am... it's dumb. Like, it's so dumb. This is something that I have control over. I have control over making a choice to not freak out about fucking Christmas decorations.
But they're important to you.
They are very important to me.
This time of year has always been important to you. But yes,
right.
I understand. Freaking out does not, enhance the experience in a positive way.
Not at all. Not at all. So I need to get a fucking grip is what I need to do, is get a fucking grip, because it's just not necessary for me to freak out.
Did you start this weekend?
I started a schmidge. I put some fake snow above a cupboard, like on top of a cupboard, and then I put 2 bottle brush trees on the fake snow. And I've never really decorated the kitchen before, but this year I decided I'm going to decorate the kitchen too.
That's so charming.
So I'm going full fucking, I'm going as Martha Stewart of Oakland as I can, but with a vintage Christmas vibe. We'll see what happens.
Martha Stewart of Oakland is a great, that's a great branding for you.
Martha Stewart of Oakland.
Yep.
Yeah. But honestly, I got nothing but fucking high-class problems right now. Nothing but high-class problems. So it was a nice chill day with the fam.
Good.
And quiet and, watched a Charlie Brown Christmas last night. So it was nice. Yeah.
Aww.
No complaints. Can't complain.
So sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I love Snoopy. I just saw a bunch of vintage images of Snoopy's balloon in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that creature is so damn cute.
That beagle.
So
yes.
Cute.
We watched the National Dog Show yesterday too.
Oh my.
After dinner, yeah. And it's just, dogs are so fucking rad, dude.
I'm telling you, and this is a lovely segue into the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. There was the cutest dog cameo. Whoever that little puppy is at Sutton's house, Bruce
with the underbite.
I mean, when he was pressed up against the window, it was a little challenging because he was like full frontal to camera. But the opening of that scene was just him like running around in the backyard, and he's just so cute and little and puppy and adorable. Anyways, he warmed my heart. I love Bruce.
So in Bravo News this week, I'm sure we all saw that Vanderpump Rules was officially canceled. And this is on the heels of Schwartz and Sandy making their announcement that Schwartz and Sandy's is now closed. And quite frankly, IDGAF, italicize bold. I don't care. I was bored AF with that show. But you have a good point about it. You had a great point about Vanderpump.
I don't know what my point was. I was heartbroken.
Yeah.
I was like, no. I mean, I guess the show is continuing, but with a new cast. Mm-hmm. So the OGs are gone. Oh, that's right. That's what I said. That it was a decade of our lives. Like, it marks a period of time. And it relates back to dogs. I equated it to dogs. Like, dogs, you only get a limited period of time with them. Oh. And so they tend to mark these spells of life. Like, my first dog marked like my first love relationship, my first engagement, my first broken off engagement, the groundlings, like everything that was Sophie era. And I feel like Vanderpump, that was an era of my life. Like, I was a very I don't know. It's just like a very distinct time period.
Totally.
In my memory. And so it's weird that that's come to a close. However, it's time. I don't need to see Schwartz, like mooping around. Like, we don't need any more of what they had to offer. But it was just, and like you said, it was just an avalanche of Vanderpump news. It's like Kristen's engaged and pregnant.
Right.
Schwartz and Sandy's is closing. Vanderpump Rules original cast is gone. It was just like so much growing up was asked of us. There's something about her seems to be still in operation for the time being. But
do you ever have you driven by recently to see if there's still lines out the door?
I drive by quite frequently, and most of the time it does not look open. So either that means there's no lines. However, there have been times still when I drive by and there are lines. That must be on the weekends or something. But so Vanderpump, end of an era, baby.
End of an era. I'm not sure I'll watch the new one, but who cares? Like,
I'll try it.
I don't need to decide
everything.
that right this second. Yeah.
But I do wonder if the whole thing is stale. The whole thing is 10 years old.
I feel like it is. I feel like it is.
Like, SUR is this ridiculous place. We've all grown up and evolved past that decor and scene. So I don't even know if it'll read as... And also, it's happened now that, like, none of these shows are as pure as they once were
Nope,
because everyone is there to be cast. No one is there because they're a waitress or a waiter working, and then they happen to wind up on a show that this new network is trying out. Now it's like a Bravo show. If it's a success, you go to BravoCon. It launches your social media career. You could be the next Ariana. Like, it just becomes a whole... It's hard to start a show without people who have big expectations of what it's going to lead to.
I feel like Vanderpump, like as in the person, I feel like every endeavor on TV that she's started in the last 3 or 4 years has failed. I don't want to say spectacularly. I just want to say failed. I don't mean that in a mean way. It's just like, okay, we get it. Vanderpump Villa, Vanderpump Dogs, like all of this shit just kind of went away. I don't know if this woman still has a lot of pull at Bravo or if we're all done, but I don't know. I feel like been there, done that. Mm-hmm. Who knows? Who cares?
Interesting. But it'll just never be the same. You'll never have another Jack, Stassi, Tom,
Nope.
That was also what was special about that show is they were all real friends. Like, they'd all been roommates together for long before the show started. Like, it wasn't just pure casting. It was sort of like just sort of capturing a community that already existed. Mm-hmm. And now it just feels like, anyways, we'll see. Obviously, I'll give it a try. But like you, I don't have high hopes because I couldn't even get through Vanderpump Villa. And I can watch trash when I want to. And I wanted to, and I couldn't. It was that bad.
I didn't even put it on.
It's not worth it. Mm-mm. It's unwatchable. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And she's a ridiculous presence. She's just so obsolete, and yet she centers herself like the queen.
That is the perfect word to describe her.
Nobody cares about you anymore. You've had the same hairstyle since we met you, I should talk, but still.
Oh,
it's
same
just
here.
Like, I don't know why everyone is. When she started Vanderpump Rules, she was this like vibrant mogul, and now she's just like a lady who ought to be retired. She's a grandma. Like, enjoy Pandy's babies and stop being in a throne at the center of Vanderpump Villa. It's weird.
I mean, I feel like if she still wants to be a businesswoman, like, fine.
But that's not what she is. She's trying to be a diva.
Exactly.
And it's weird.
Exactly. It's stale.
Yes.
It's stale and it's boring now. Like, we get the same vest nipped in at the waist. We get the same bright pink or purple satin shirt. We get the same loosely tied man's tie. We get the same dogs under the arms. And Ken.
Pencil skirt.
Yeah.
High heels.
I'm bored.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bored. What was not boring was the episode of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, season 14, episode 2, A Sobering Separation. Now, I want to say, should we consider this episode like an online Al-Anon meeting, since a gathering of two or more constitutes a meeting. And let me tell you, there was major drinking and behavior in this episode that freaked me the fuck out. I mean, PK left his family for weeks at a time. Dude.
That was so brutal. And yes, it feels like, oh, yeah, that was really painful to hear and really familiar. Like Beth Crosby, who had been a guest on the show a few weeks ago, she and I were talking about it because we're like, that was our dad. And like, he would get mad and leave. At least it was my dad. I shouldn't speak on her behalf. My dad would get drunk. There would be a fight. He would leave for weeks at a time. We never knew if he was coming back. So like by the time a divorce was announced, it was like, who gives a rip? Like he hasn't been here ever anyway. But the fact that Dorit is couching it like it's not going to have a traumatic impact on her children is insane, because they've already experienced the traumatic impact of a father who abandons them regularly. And as a child, you don't know what to do with that except to internalize it and try to figure out, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong this time? Uh-oh, it happened again. What did I do wrong now? And you can say he's at work or whatever. That's what our mom said too. But like, no, they know. They hear the fight. They feel the energy. They see the explosive pattern of daddy leaves every time this happens. And kids, that's just part of their hardwiring, is to like, because for their own safety and protection, they need their parents to be okay. And anyways, it just broke my heart that Dorit thinks she's doing something by like not telling them. But the damage is already done, girl.
It's so done.
You're enabling.
Yeah.
And that's a problem too. Like Al-Anonism is not a victim program. I am an active participant in martyrdom, manipulation, mothering, all of the things. Like,
that is it. Yep.
That's why they call it a family disease. Like one person drinks, one or more people drink, and everybody is changed and affected by it. So anyways,
everybody.
Brutal.
It was brutal. This week was brutal on Bravo. We'll talk about
Devastating.
Mary and
addiction.
Robert Jr. At the end of the episode. But this week was really like we always say, like Margie always says, like it's produced until it's not. And this was real fucking life this week. Whether or not PK and Dorit went into that dinner, you know, I think that Dorit was a little blindsided by what PK had to say. I think PK came in with an agenda, but like it was still real AF. That scene was real dysfunction, real alcoholic family system on display. And God knows Kyle was too. Kyle's Al-Anonism, Kyle's untreated Al-Anonism was all over as well.
Why do you think Kyle and Dorit set each other off so bad?
Oh,
because they're both Al-Anons. They both need attention.
Yep.
They both need, like affirmation. They're both depleted. Erika made a good point. Like they're both going through stuff at home. They're both too depleted right now. And Dorit, it's coming out in anger, and Kyle, it's coming out as it always does, as you've pointed out for years. And I used to shy away from it. But in this episode, I was like, stop being a victim immediately. You're fine. Like you were saying, luxury problems. This is not a problem. And also, I don't believe that you're lonely, because Morgan is still very much a part of your life, even though she's not on this show.
Is she?
I don't know.
I don't either.
But when Kyle was in her confessional being like, I don't know, I'm scared it's going to be like this forever. But there was no tears. There was no real emotion there. Like, again, I've sat with family and friends if they've gone through divorce and experienced that feeling for real. And that comes with like real palpable anxiety and terror and the greatest of unknowns. After you've spent a lifetime picturing a future, when that's torn away, it's not so casual. And Kyle being like, Fifi, are you coming home for dinner? You're not. Okay, well, the house is really quiet. Okay.
Dude,
it's like,
I know.
And I know it's a big change. Like, she deserves to take her time with it. But like, I just don't. After last year, she's really trying to pull something with like, as if she's trying to behave like last year didn't happen. We watched you have a full played out love affair, giddy and giggly, fully romantic. Like, give me a break.
I agree.
You've already moved on from your ex, you know? So I'm having a hard time being like, oh, poor Kyle. Oh, she has to close the office door. It's too hard for her. Shut up.
Oh my God. Yes.
Shut up.
If over the last 14 seasons, well, this season TBD, I haven't seen the entire thing, but if over the last 13 seasons, she had given us a nugget, a morsel of anything that wasn't like Kyle attempting to control and manipulate the situation. If she had given us any vulnerability where she just talked about her feelings not relating to like other people, I think I could garner some sympathy for her. But because she has been straight up, unadulterated, pure, uncut victim this whole 13 years, I am even less tolerant of her bullshit than I've ever been. Sorry, like I actually feel more for Dorit when I shouldn't, because she obviously, you know, like at the dinner or at the surreal party, you know, when Kyle's like, you should have given me some I'm skipping all over. Like I have this in my notes, but I just don't want to forget. You know, when she's like, could you give me some grace? It's been a really hard 2 years. Well, it turns out Dorit's been having a really hard 2 years too, except for she was just lying, I guess, way better than Kyle does. Because
but I think they both confided in each other. And also, I remember distinctly last year, because I thought it was really vulnerable and interesting, when Dorit had a pizza dinner with Kyle and said, for the first time, I wondered if PK and I would be one of the couples that doesn't make it. She said it to her friend alone in an intimate dinner on camera.
Yep.
So she hasn't been hiding it. And it's also very hard to keep it a secret when he goes to London for 300 years at a time. You know,
My God.
It's hard to pretend like this is great. And she has 2 little kids that he just cares nothing about. That whole dinner scene.
And their house was broken into.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't know that it was PK, but I think we all do.
I mean, at this point, and he like weirdly in that scene at the end, he's like, you know, we both hold resentments for what life has thrown at us. I'm like, for you staging like 15 different robberies of like, nobody brings $10 million in cash to a grocery store. Like, get over it. Like, remember she had like cash stolen from her purse at like Home Goods. In addition to or whatever, right?
Was she at Home Goods?
I have no idea.
Oh my God. Why did I think Gilson's?
She would never be at Home Goods. She would never be. I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyways, there's just been a lot of like weird robberies in succession of untraceable items. And that seems, it seems suspect. I was talking to Beth about this, and I'm really interested in PK being in the 12-step rooms and sort of talking openly about that. But I worry about him sticking with it because it requires a searching and fearless moral inventory. And I'm concerned that PK will be like, you know what? I'm sober. I'm thin. I'm just going to quit this before I have to admit that I hired people to rob my wife while my children were in the fucking house. Oops.
That absolutely, I think you're spot on, because I don't know. I'm sure you noticed this. When he said, I did what you asked. I did the biggest thing you asked. I quit drinking. And it's like, that is the tip of the motherfucking iceberg.
Also, there's no recovery in a statement like that.
Exactly.
Like, I did what you said. It's like recovery has to be because you acknowledge you are powerless and your life has become unmanageable. It doesn't say we gather here because our wives are pissed off and we agreed that we do. Like, he's crazy. He's really,
Just to like let everybody know about what 12-step rooms look like in West Hollywood and Los Angeles, everybody is fucking gorgeous. Everybody, okay, not everybody.
No, because I don't want people to be scared off.
No, oh, you're right. Yeah, that's okay.
My experience was not that. No, don't cut it out.
Okay.
No, I think it's important to say that because I do think that is the perception, because people see, as I did, the hot alcoholics gathered outside of the log cabin.
And
it intimidated me.
Yep.
I didn't go to a meeting there for a few attempts because I was intimidated by that. But that's not, everyone's there because they're like sick and broken and beautiful on the inside, you know? And, you know, yeah, I don't know. I just don't want people to not go because they think it's
You're
like
right.
hot people gathering.
You're right.
I think there are spaces like that, but most of them, again, you don't go to those meetings that they say it's the last house on the block. Like you don't go if there's any other option. So the only people who are there are at the end of their fucking rope.
You're right.
You know?
You're right. You're right. I just remember like walking in being like, oh God, her outfit. Oh God, he's hot. Oh God, whatever, you know? And it's like, Ramona, that's not why you're here.
But once the meeting starts, like most of them have literature that make that really clear that like we are here to only talk about whatever illness, you know, of whatever substance or behavior is at play in that meeting space. That's why I love those meetings, because it's 1 hour where you're not allowed to talk about your profession.
Nope.
You're not allowed to talk about outside literature. You're not allowed to talk about organized religion. Like it is just a place to be like, I have a problem with this particular substance or behavior, and the big book is potentially a way out. Let's talk about only that, and then everybody go away.
I think my point in bringing up about just like the superficial stuff about seeing people at meetings is that I can see PK walking in and being like, oh, this isn't what I thought. This is a bunch of older dudes that may find themselves single now and sober now. And there's a bunch of attractive women who find themselves single or are single. And, you know, everyone's good looking. And, oh, okay, I can hang here. And so that was my whole thing because, well, I mean, we'll get there.
I mean, but I will also say one more pitch for the 12-step rooms.
Please,
like whatever keeps people going, if it's meant for them. It's not for everybody, and I totally appreciate that. But, you know, I did see high-profile famous people in some of my early meetings, and that kept me fucking coming back. Because I was like, I want to hear their story. I want to know what they have to say, like, you know? And I would never reveal who they are or what they said, but I'm not going to lie. I took a shower and got dressed and went to those meetings on the Upper West Side because I wanted to see what these people had to say. And great news, they only had to say the exact same story that I had.
Same.
Their external life was obviously very different and known to be so, but if you have the ailment, that's all you talk about in those rooms, and that's cool.
Which is a really good point because, you know, we look at people, celebrities maybe, and think a certain way about them and their lives must be XYZ, but that's not the case. It's not necessarily the case at all. So, yeah. Oh, I feel bad. This is another instance where it's like you're the good and I'm the bad.
Oh my God.
And I don't mean it in a bad way. I'm just saying like I'm like, you know.
No, but I think what you said is so honest, and I shared that thought when I first went. I was like, why would a therapist tell me to go to this place when it's just like beautiful people? I am a fucking mess. I'm not going to a church basement to sit around and stare at beautiful people.
Right.
But then once the meeting started, it's like,
they
were not always beautiful. They've been in this room for 20 years.
And
I think it's a relatable thought.
It's interesting going to other meetings in other parts of the country, or you just, you know, it was very typical to see someone that you recognized from just the media or, you know, movies or TV or whatever. I did not have that experience going to meetings in Seattle. I did not have that experience going to meetings up here. So, you know, it is just, LA is a unique place, and it's also why I love it. So,
but it's the industry. It's like if you went in, you know, Silicon Valley, you'd see if you're in the tech industry, you'd probably recognize people. You know what I mean? It's just like,
absolutely.
I think and also this industry is so fucked. It just, everybody is so, you know, if you have a whiff of a body image issue, like this place can ignite that and send you into these rooms real quick.
No lie, man. No lie.
Any weakness, or not weakness, any proclivity toward addiction, this town can really
exacerbate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just bring it to the surface real quick.
Agreed. So we resume at the surreal party, and Dorit is not going to put up with Kyle's shit no more. And she thinks that Kyle sold her friendship out for clout. Well, no, that's my opinion. I'm sorry. I think that Kyle sold out their friendship with Dorit for clout on her Amazon Live because of fucking BravoCon. And I think that's disgusting. And if Kyle didn't know that BravoCon was a joke, then she's just being a willful brat, in my opinion. And Dorit thinks that Kyle turns on the tears for attention. I agree with that 100%. Kyle's behavior, again, is she's playing her role in the alcoholic family system. And she's over 50 and has a shit ton of fucking money and access to some of the best therapists, I would probably argue, in the world, for sure in the country where she lives. And she's not taking advantage of any of them, to our knowledge. And it's like, I think we'd be able to tell if she was.
I mean, it's hard to say. Here we go again, Margie, with the let's, progress, not perfection.
But I love that about you. Yes.
She has gone through a lot. Her marriage of 30 years crumbled. It does seem like there's been ongoing infidelity of some sort. And she's having confusion about her sexuality at age 50. Like, she thought she knew who she was, and all of a sudden she's in the sack with a 25-year-old country girl. It's like, But that being said, she does not seem to be curious about patterns in her relationships.
That's what I was trying to say. You're right.
Because, she's, and in fact, it's so manipulative. The very first line out of the episode is Kyle saying, "I'm going to need you to listen now, okay?" And Dorit was like, absolutely not. She just talked right over her. And then Kyle did that terrifying thing that I really hate, where she was like, "You're literally not acting like yourself right now. What's going on with you?" This like accusatory distancing of like, just because someone's emotional or having an opinion. I hate that shit. That I can't stand.
I agree. And she does it without yelling. And she does it where it's like she's what? Oh my God. What are you saying? Oh my God, you're not like yourself. So like,
she kept looking off camera to clearly there was a producer there that she was like, "Can you believe this? Who is this woman?"
Exactly.
It's so shaming and terrible.
It is the most manipulative bullshit I've ever fucking seen, and I hate it. There's people that raise their voice and get audibly angry, and then there are people like Kyle who gaslight the shit out of you.
But I love Dorit for she's like, no. Like, I love when people are finally, and Dorit said it, when they're finally fed up.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyle said this whole thing about like, we both have thoughts and feelings about what happened. We both have our sides. And I was like, Kyle, you presented this as you wanting to have this conversation to get to the other side. But if you're so dug into we both have our sides, then you're there to fight. That's what you're there to do. You're not there to listen and understand your friend and try to find a resolution. You're trying to get heard and have her submit as she always has. And Dorit is terrifying to you right now because she's like, no, I'm going to tell the truth. I said something on Watch What Happens Live that pissed you off because it fucked with your relationship with Morgan, and that's why you hung me out to dry on Amazon Live. The whole thing is so stupid.
It's so stupid. And also, like, what Dorit said was so fucking benign, dude.
And she even said, "I'm sorry, Kyle," to camera. Like, she literally knew that this could be a problem. And then she never heard from Kyle again for months. So she makes an offhand comment on Watch What Happens Live. Kyle embarrasses her by saying she exaggerated the whole friendship and then never talks to her again and then expects this conversation to go well. She's crazy.
It was ridiculous. I mean, plus, I want to say, I think that there should be room okay, so maybe this is a point in Kyle's favor. There should be room in friendships to be able to say something like that and not have it end the way it is with Dorit and Kyle. I think that what Dorit did was completely benign, like I said. And I think that if friendships, I don't know. I think that Kyle is capable of having real friendships. I think like her friend that passed away, that we went to her memorial, that Morgan sang a song about making love with Kyle on at that memorial, Kyle, that one. But let's not talk about Morgan. My point is that I think that Kyle does have true friendships. I really did think that the one that she had with Dorit was real. I mean, I felt like the four of them, like both couples, hung out a lot. and they always had that special bond that the other castmates didn't have. But whatever, Kyle, it works. This is going to feed into her narrative.
It was dependent on Dorit playing her role. And Dorit said, I'm fed up with this friendship. I'm fed up with my marriage. It depended on Dorit being a doormat, and she's done. And I appreciated Dorit saying, you know, like Dorit asked Kyle, why not tell me I'm mad at you for this? Why not just connect with me? And Kyle goes, I didn't have it in me. And Dorit said, thank God, Dorit says, just because you're struggling doesn't mean you can treat me like shit. A good fucking friend, when they're mad, they tell you they're mad. They try to work through it.
Yep.
And Kyle's like, this is the hardest 2 years of my life. Give me some grace. And then we get the title of last week's episode, which was a bizarre editing choice where she's like, Dorit says, grace time is over. Once you hang me out to dry publicly, like once you, and Kyle later says, you know, I did what I did because I was reacting to what Dorit did. It's it was that childish? Oh, so you admitted it. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
She's so fucking lame, dude. She's such a victim asshole. It's like, take accountability. Take accountability. Like, you don't have it in you, that's on you. But like, if she just, all you say is, man, I'm having a hard time. I acted like a dick. I'm really sorry.
That's it. That's the thing.
That's it.
It's like, that's what's so weird about Kyle digging in. It takes so much more energy to dig in like this as opposed to just saying, like, I tell all of my friends and family members who go through something traumatic, a death or a divorce or anything, I say, you have 1 year to be an unrecognizable version of yourself. The only thing I put in place is you cannot be mean to me. Anything else, if you're in a bad mood, if you're bitchy, if you're crying all the time, you have 1 full calendar year to be however you need to be to get through this, to survive this. And I would give that same grace to Kyle, but you can't be directly mean to me. I didn't do anything to you. Like, if you're mad at Mauricio, you're mad at Morgan, you're mad at Kathy. Like, don't, you know, Dorit didn't do anything to Kyle. Like, this is just, it's outrageous.
Agreed.
The lengths she went to drag her.
Agreed.
It was so lame.
Yeah, she's projecting. And then, so Kyle bounces, but not before she victimizes herself in front of Garcelle. And then
that was weird. It's all just not landing.
So okay, maybe we're watching her bottom out on her victimhood in real time.
Maybe.
I mean, I hope, because the way she's living, I can't imagine she's sleeping well at night. She's probably just a ball of anxiety 24/7 because she's trying to manage every single outcome to the best of her ability. She's, you know, working out obsessively still, possibly in slow motion as we speak on a Peloton with a full fucking face of makeup. Couldn't be me. But it's like, you know, she's doing all the things and it's not working anymore.
Well,
maybe
she's
it's
doing
worked
all the
for her.
things except the one thing she needs to be doing that Sutton talks to her about later, which is talking to a lawyer. If you think Mauricio's going to give you 50% of the agency because he wrote a line in a book once, you're crazy. He will tell the courts and they will agree. She has never set foot in the agency. She doesn't know anything about real estate. Talk to every single employee there. Like, there's no world where she's going to get 50%. He's not going to give that to her. He's just not. She's crazy.
But I mean, she did support the business. She was on Buying Beverly Hills.
Mauricio is already consulted with the top divorce lawyers in town. I guarantee it. And after he's done that, it limits the pool because it is now a conflict of interest for any of those lawyers to entertain Kyle. So she better get to a lawyer quickly, or Mauricio's going to do what I would advise anyone to do: talk to every top divorce lawyer so they are not available to your partner. And then Kyle's going to be left with someone good but not great. Mauricio's going to have someone great, and she will not get 50%. And not that she needs it. It's like Sutton whining about $350,000 a month allowance. Man. But it's like she's I don't know what. She's not in reality. She's in a weird place where
she's
Dorit's
in denial.
A villain. Yeah.
She's
Dorit's
in
a villain
denial.
and Mauricio's a hero. Like, I don't think you got that right, dude.
I don't know. I mean, I thought that it was 50-50 down the line.
Yeah, everybody
in the
does.
State of California.
Everybody. Okay. It is, until you get someone who fights and then you spend a decade in court. because they can file motions until you're dead.
You're right.
They don't have to settle until the courts say this is getting ridiculous.
Oh my God.
And it takes about 10 years for a court to say this is getting ridiculous.
I mean, Kathy has deep-seated resentments over Mauricio's career still. So
and Mauricio's family hates Kyle. And guess who's he's leaning into more now? His family.
Oh,
and they're going to say, don't give that bitch 50%. She embarrassed you on TV with a 25-year-old country singer.
Oh.
He is not going to roll over just because it's easier. No matter how little or much people have, because Sutton said it best, men do not like to part with their money. And it is the last chance for them to inflict any pain that they feel. They want their partner to feel it similarly. And that is a great way to do it, is to deny them what is fair, keep them in court. And he now knows that Kyle has an expectation of 50%. So what better way to fuck with her than to not let that be so?
Oh, this is going to get butt ugly.
Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she will be the exception. But I cannot name, even the most amicable divorces, I cannot name a one where money did not become a sticking point.
Of course. Mm-hmm.
Anyways, Kyle. Well, now we get on to a woman who is amazing, and we go to Bose's badass workshop, which did make me I did not enjoy the workshop scenes. I was like, I've watched too many cult documentaries, and I know she's not a cult leader, but just the frenzied women dancing around a leader made me like,
I know what you're saying.
It's just the imagery. It's not like the actual people. I was just like, I'm uncomfortable. I want this scene to be over. I like her, but this is
I hear
weird.
what you're saying. I wonder if they did it so that we could kind of get a snapshot into who she is and get to know her a little bit better. But
She's
I get it.
impressive as fuck.
Extremely
just
impressive.
Awards all over the place. Proud of her heritage being from Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
And
her
then
name means goddess.
Of course it does.
Yes.
And just standing in full ownership of that.
I know.
So when you say my name, you conjure a goddess. It's like, oh my God, that is the kind of confidence I want to embody someday.
That's some self-esteem that you can actually steep in. It's not like a little layer that it's not like you're wading in self-esteem. You're like up to your neck in like a perfect temperature, bubbles, just like a nice hot tub of self-esteem.
Yeah, it's not like acting as if in an empty tub where I'm like, I'm a goddess and there's no water in there. She's like fully having a full, jacuzzi bath in reality of self-esteem. Which makes sense why she's so successful.
Yeah. I mean, she's got a 25-year corporate career, accolade upon accolade. She's retired now. She does podcasts. She does advocacy work. She shares that as soon as she signed her PepsiCo deal with the Super Bowl, that her husband was diagnosed with cancer. She tells us about how, never thought that she'd be with like the whitest of white men, and yet there she was. The thing that broke my heart the most was when she said that her daughter was robbed of a wonderful father and that he was robbed of like being a wonderful dad to her. And oh, God, man.
That was very generous because obviously their relationship was suffering because they were on the brink of divorce before he got sick. But she's so clear that like those two loved each other and were made for each other. And that loss is just, that is profound.
Agreed.
That 3-month period, that's the same thing that happened to my friend Gavin. And it is a shocking, terrifying, strange nightmare. And when she said, I still don't have the words for it. I was like, I don't know if anyone ever does. It's like one day they're fine. The next day they're like a patient. And then a couple weeks later, they don't exist in time and space anymore. And it's like, it's too shocking. It's too jarring to ever make sense of. And I don't know. I feel for her daughter, especially.
Absolutely.
Because this guy wasn't an asshole. He wasn't PK going off to a hotel because he didn't get his way. This was a dad who wanted to be a dad and got fucking robbed.
Then we pivot to Kyle and Sutton at the Godfrey Hotel and the IO rooftop bar on Cahuenga. I Googled it because I was like, I don't recognize this.
I didn't either.
Yeah. It's on Cahuenga in Hollywood.
Oh, weird. What a weird place for them to go.
I agree. I know.
What a weird, well, I guess not a weird place for an Oscar party because it's right by the theater. But
yeah, that's a good point. And I love that Sutton said that she was there for an Oscar hospitality suite and she got some free Botox. And of course, Kyle's like, can't tell she got it. And I would argue that that's some good Botox. If you can't notice it, that's some good Botox.
Also,
in my opinion.
You know what I can notice is your Kimosabe hat. Like,
Dude.
Kyle, just like, please don't come for other people's appearance. Let's just not. Just leave it alone.
I miss the heyday of gifting suites, man. 2008 put the kibosh on them. I still have a belt that I love from Hollywood Trading Company that I got at a gifting suite. I had a flat iron I got in a gifting or as a swag bag, and it recently bit the dust. Like it was with me for a very long time. From, I want to say, 2008 till maybe last year, I finally had to replace it. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying that I loved leaving those parties with like a lot of shit. Didn't deserve any of it.
Nobody does. That's
no one did at those things. Right. Sutton, in her confessional, says, last season, a lot of accusations were thrown my way. And we see the flashback to one of the scenes with Kyle that makes my blood boil. And I think that if I were to run into her at a Starbucks, I would say you knew exactly what the fuck you were doing when you said to Sutton, I didn't know if it was your medication for your feet or if it was your first drink or you'd already had a couple. She's a manipulative piece of unrecovered shit. And she knew what she was doing. She's a mean girl. And I just I don't know why. And I loved when the producers were like, do you trust her? Or like, why do you trust her again? She's like, I don't know. Who said I trusted her? I was like, oh, well played, Sutton Strack.
But this, I thought, was such I mean, I don't like Sutton at all. I know. I did appreciate her here because she says it in a later scene that she doesn't trust Kyle, obviously, as revealed in that confessional, but she recognizes Kyle is going through a traumatic time, a divorce and separation, and she wants to be there for her. Mm-hmm. Even though Kyle was a dick to her mere months ago, Sutton understands that this is a time where she needs support. So Kyle, why not reach out to Dorit in the same spirit? Like, instead of just reaching out to PK and not talking to Dorit. Like Kyle is making some really unforgivable choices.
Kyle is more attached to being right than she is to being happy. Kyle has no space in her cosmic self for any kind of humility. And I fucking can't. I cannot. I have so little patience and I have zero empathy for her. No, Ramona, you don't say. Anyway, Sutton says that she and Mo get along for now, but money could ruin shit. And Kyle's in denial. So Kyle says half the agency is hers in his book.
And Sutton laughed out loud.
Yeah,
she was like,
sure did. She sure did. Yeah, and like you said, Sutton has a lot of experience with this.
And Kyle is she's so committed to being the exception to the rule. She's saying that she's like, everyone is telling me to file. Who filed this? You should file. And it's like, listen to them, Kyle. And she's like, whatever, we'll figure it out. I'm like, you need to file. Like, the reason everybody is telling you this is, as all of the girls say at the pizza party later, like, we want you to be smart. We want you to be protected. And even though it seems silly, again, I'm stunned that Kyle, living in Beverly Hills, is not aware of the jeopardy she's putting herself in. And again, she'll be fine. She has so much money. She could never spend it in 50 lifetimes. But if she thinks she's getting half, she's crazy. She's about to spend the next 10 years of her life in court with Mauricio unless she rolls over. So
Damn. Yeah.
Then we're at Bose's house and Erika and Dorit come over and she makes them take their shoes off, which they seemed like legitimately shocked. And I loved it. But then I also loved her for having little outdoor slippers for them to wear.
I did too.
I love it. And I felt like, did you love her house? I feel like that decor, I felt like that would speak to you so much.
I even had that in my notes. Yes, Margie. Her house and Sutton's house. I love Sutton's house, but man, Bose's house is like out of my dreams.
That's what I thought. I was like, Ramona would live in this place.
Sumptuous. And like Erika said, like the textures and the layers and I didn't like every chandelier. I'm not a huge fan of crystals, but the ornate gold and the little tables, the fucking wallpaper, the rugs, just all the patterns. I loved the backyard was stunning.
The backyard is gorgeous.
Stunning.
The fire pit with like the ivy cushions. Like, oh my God.
Not being afraid of color. Oh God, I just
that
adored
wallpaper,
it.
that like rich green wallpaper.
Gorgeous.
Like
gorgeous.
So I just was like, this is Ramona's aesthetic. And
it
like,
was so my aesthetic.
It's not
absolutely.
too crowded. It's not like Mary Cosby's house, which verges on like amusement park crazy. But it is so, it's just like glamorous, but also completely warm and inviting somehow. It just is not, nothing about it is sterile or it's so personal. And anyways, I loved it.
God,
and I'm
loved
so
it
glad
too.
you loved it too.
Yes, I loved it. You're sweet for thinking that I would. Yes. We have a flashback to Bose and Sutton having a conversation previously where Sutton told her about the Dorit and Kyle conflict.
This, by the way, was at Bose's Malibu house.
Oh, that's right.
Yes,
it was.
God
at her
forbid
Malibu house.
Have two scenes at the same house.
I love it. Good for her. Good for her. Dorit lists Kyle's grievances. Her sticking up for Kathy at a reunion 2 years ago. Bravo, Con. She says that Kyle is grasping at straws. And I wrote, agreed, Dorit, agreed. I am relating to Dorit fucking Kemsley.
Dorit's a new girl. Like a lot of like, given her bullshit accent is still front and center, but a lot of the other bullshit that she's been putting on the past few years is just gone. And you can tell she's at that point where she just can't anymore. It's over, and that's bad news for everybody in her path.
I love it.
Who's used to her behaving in a certain way.
That's
great.
But
I love it too. Then we go to Kyle and Sutton, and this is where Kyle claims she went into that conversation with Dorit calm and wanting to get her point across and wanting to get to the other side of this, right?
Utter fucking bullshit.
Claims I pulled away from Dorit reacting to the things she was doing. So you're literally giving a "you started it" defense. That's what you're doing? Okay. It's just
she came armed to that conversation with stories and defensiveness. She wasn't open at all. Why even have the conversation at that point?
And none of
I
it
wouldn't
reads
have had it.
None of it reads as authentic, especially when you're up against someone like Dorit in the moment she's in, who is completely dropped into the truth. She's so exhausted by lies and pretending and half-truths and bullshit that once you have someone who's still trying to play that game up against someone who's like, no, what you're saying is bullshit. We both know the truth. This is what happened. This is why you did it. And then Kyle stood up and left because Dorit was right.
You're being mean to me.
If you're going to come in here all aggressive, then like,
oh my God, I don't even recognize you right now. Why are you acting like this?
Horrific.
Yeah, this is called reactive to your fucking victim bullshit. Oh,
and then Kyle does the ultimate, you spot it, you got it. Sutton asks Kyle, do you miss Dorit? And Kyle says, I'm too angry for that right now. And then in a confessional, Kyle says, Dorit lacks accountability, Kyle, lacks self-awareness, Kyle, is completely oblivious to anyone's feelings but her own, Kyle.
Yep.
Okay.
You spot it, you got it, man.
Come on, takes one to know one.
You got it. Yes, absolutely. Anyway, and she said that you don't get to say how hurt you were and that you feel pushed away because you made the bed, you lie in it. Like, fuck all the way off, Richards.
And it also doesn't make any sense. You can say that with all like the attitude you want, but the words, the content, there's no there. You're not making sense.
No. And I don't think anybody.
What bed did she make? She didn't.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
You're a liar.
I listen, I completely agree that Dorit overstepped her bounds when she stuck up for fucking Kathy.
Agreed.
On that reunion stage. That was egregious, and Dorit fucking blew it. She blew it hard. She fumbled in that scene. But like everything else, no, sorry, Kyle. Team Dorit. Oh my God, as I live and breathe.
I know, right?
If anyone ever hears me say Team DeBro, then we have some problems. It doesn't matter. So we go back to Bose's house, and Dorit says there's two sets of rules. Kyle has two sets of rules for Dorit.
No, two sets of rules in general. A rule for Kyle and a rule for everyone else.
Yes.
Kyle gets to do whatever she wants and everyone else has to abide by Kyle's rules.
Oh, God.
Welcome to adult children of alcoholism, honey.
Yep. And it kind of, that could actually, that could probably apply to Dubrow as well. Well, you know what? Who wants to talk about her anymore? Never
mind. I don't even know what to
say.
I just don't know her at all still after all these years. She's just such a distant, cold nobody. And then Erika asks how things are going with the separation from PK. And Dorit reveals that daddy, the kids think daddy's working. And then she does the thing, I just remember this so clearly from being in college, where Dorit says something that she thinks is completely benign because she's lived with it for so long, where she's like, oh, well, PK would leave all the time for weeks at a time. And Beau's like gasps so loud, like almost passes out, which is an appropriate reaction. But I remember when I went to college and I was like, oh, when, your dad does this and it leads to this kind of fight and the police come and blah, blah, blah. And everyone was like, and I'm like giggling as I tell the story because it's like, oh, you know how, when. And they were like,
no, how it is.
We absolutely, I went to school at Michigan where every family got married when they were like 19 years old and are still together. And they were like, no, we do not know how, when. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And that's when I realized in college, I was like, oh, I think something's wrong.
Yeah.
I'm starting to realize that maybe, that was, anyways, it just made me laugh because Dorit's trying to pass this off as casual and Beau's literally like inhaled so hard like all the water came out of the swimming pool and went down her throat.
I did too. I had to pause it and I looked at Josh and I was like, did you fucking hear that? He would get drunk, they'd fight, he'd bail for weeks. So,
on his kids.
On his young kids. On his young kids.
Doesn't give a shit about
them. Man, if that is not a snapshot of the cunning, baffling disease of alcoholism, I don't know what is. But that is the kind of shit that you learn to live with, and you feel like you're in a fucking Twilight Zone every day of your life.
And it changes your makeup. Like,
yes, it does.
My experience was from repeated abandonments that seemed to come out of nowhere, and it was hard to understand when or why they would happen because they came from an erratic, sick person, But I was left feeling like worthless and unimportant and desperate. And then that's a pattern that I brought into relationships until I got help. And I worry that Dorit hasn't put her kids in therapy. Like, I hope they're in therapy right this very second. Me too. Without help, they're going to internalize whatever they take away from the repeated abandonment of an alcoholic psycho, and they will play out that behavior, that damaged behavior pattern until they hit a bottom, and I don't wish that for anyone. But like Dorit nobody's sparing those kids anything by not talking to them. They know everything. Why do adults do this? Why do they really think that like kids are not fully present for energetic shifts in the household, if nothing else?
I mean, don't get me started. Don't get me started.
I know, but it's just like the self-delusion of that. Like, even if they're not listening to every word, which my sister and I did, we would wake up and listen to every fight because we wanted to know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
Because you're curious and you want some information and nobody tells you. Everyone acts like everything's fine. But everything's not fine. So you have to stay up and listen to the argument or try to sense the energy in the house and see if maybe they did fight or didn't fight, or like, it's a terrible way to be a kid. Not cool, Dorit.
Dude, I know.
I know she's just trying to survive, but like, man, I'm sad for those babies. That's really hard. It's really hard.
I mean, Erika brings up a good point. Like, she held all of this back from her friends, and Erika can understand why. I mean, who wants to say that? Oh, my husband and I got in a horrible fucking fight, and he left for weeks.
But again,
what should we order?
Didn't hide it. Last season, she was talking about it.
That's true.
She talked about how upset she was that he'd gone to London for a weekend and wound up staying for 3 months or whatever.
Right.
Like,
but like, I didn't know that he was leaving like all the time.
In an alcoholic rage.
Yes, exactly.
No,
exactly.
It did sound like he had a trip planned and packed his bags nicely and left nicely. But no, this is much more volatile.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then the saddest moment of the episode for me after, looking back, having watched the episode played out, is when Bose asks Dorit if there's a chance for reconciliation. And Dorit says very earnestly, there's always that possibility. PK at the end is like, no, you can call me if you're in dire straits and vice versa. But other than that, we're not talking. Go fuck yourself. Single PK. Bye.
Single PK.
Wagyu fucking beef tartare and oysters. The breath on that man. Fuck you. That is such a fuck you meal. Order sardines at that point and just have a close conversation. It was so gross. That order was so aggressively
it was disgusting.
British.
Couldn't be me, right? I know. Like
Wagyu beef tartare. And when it came, it looked, again, you can fucking try to plate that shit within an inch of its life. It still looks like dog vomit. It is just a pile of chopped, wet, raw beef. I've seen it a million times at a million restaurants, and they're all fancy Michelin star restaurants, and it always looks like someone threw up on my plate and put a piece of parsley on it. And it's like,
to me,
here's a fucking appetizer.
It just looked like a poke bowl, but on a plate,
Yeah.
But yeah, which I'm not a huge seafood person, so like no, thank you.
Ugh, it's so weird.
Oh, it's so sad.
PK.
Oh,
So PK.
So PK. So we are then pivoting to Sutton, and we're at her house with Avi. They're getting ready for a surprise pizza and PJ's party. And Sutton wants to be there for Kyle. She wants to be there for Kyle. That's
so
really nice. Yeah, it's really nice. Erika,
she had a moment of like
go
weird pepperoni shaming. Did you catch that?
I didn't catch the pep.
Avi was handing her toppings. He's like, here's arugula and here's like Kalamata olives. And then Sutton's like, and I got pepperoni for Erika. Some people like pepperoni. She was like really bothered by pepperoni. I was like, it's a pretty common pizza topping. Like,
I love pepperoni on my pizza. I love it.
And it was like fancy ass pepperoni.
I'm
it wasn't
sure.
like, it's just so weird that Sutton like took time
weird.
out of her life to get mad about it.
Erika and Kathy show up, and Sutton tells Kathy and Erika that Mo swapped out in his office at his house. He swapped out a picture of him and Kyle for a picture of him with his dance partner from when he was on Dancing with the Stars at his home office. Dude, it's one thing if you do it at the agency, but what the fuck? That is so fucked. Do you think he really did it?
I think he really did it, but I also, let's not forget, that was at a time when Kyle was prancing around the world with Morgan in every goddamn town. Like, please, they're both doing it. Again,
You're right.
Kyle is not a victim. So she called and reports this to Sutton, like, can you believe it? He put a picture of him and his Dancing with the Stars. It's like, you're on tour with Morgan Wade. We cannot not see you guys together
You're in a
all the
video
time.
dry humping.
You got tattooed together on the, why, you're mad about a picture in his own private office? Go straight to timeout, ma'am.
You're right. You're absolutely right,
Give me a break.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. So then we go to Kyle's and we see her getting all fucking bummed out because Fifi's not going to be home for dinner. And she's not adjusting well to being an empty nester. I mean, obviously, like, poor Portia. Like, poor Portia. Like, she's not technically an empty nester, but Kyle's definitely acting like she is. It's just like, she says, what if it's always like this? And I said, then you process your fucking feelings about it as they come up, Kyle. There isn't a way around them. You go through. Or the alternative is that you're going to be living the way you're living right now, which is fucking poor me, sad sack, victim, boo-hoo.
In your gated estate.
Yeah, exactly.
Me,
with your
river.
million dogs that fucking can't behave.
And then we head into this like very long, over-milked Amazon delivery bit. And
so dumb.
Anyways, we eventually get to Kathy, Erika, and Sutton surprising Kyle with pajamas and pizza. And are those pajamas, you have that robe that I love. Is it the same designer?
Yes.
Oh my God. This
very
whole episode is an ode to
brand.
Ramona.
It was
You're upset with the brand?
I am upset with the brand.
Why? They looked great.
Okay, so the brand is called Print Fresh, and they were my favorite pajama brand until the day after the 2024 election. They send me a marketing email that says, today, we are launching our collaboration with the Hiltons. And I'm like, I wrote them back. I'm all, you know that Kathy is MAGA as fuck, right? And I think her kids are too. So what the fuck are you doing? Read the room, take the temp of the country, and maybe not send this email out announcing your collaboration with someone who is problematic the day after, like, this catastrophic thing happened to our country.
I'm so naive. I did not realize this was a collab.
This was SponCon.
That is so gross, and I fully fell for it.
None of the patterns that they showed on the episode were patterns that were the Hilton patterns that they did.
Okay.
But so yes, I have a pair of the pajamas that
I love them.
that Kyle was wearing, but they're just in a different colorway. Colorway she was wearing is called Tobacco. That's how well I know that fucking
cute.
brand.
They
the
look
robe
good.
that Erika was wearing, I've thought about buying it a million times. You know, it's on sale for Black Friday right now. But yeah, that was fucking SponCon. And I'm like, damn it, is this when Print Fresh jumps the shark officially? Do I have to find a new pajama brand? I'm telling you, high-class fucking problems. High-class fucking problems.
I didn't realize. That's smart, though. I guess if they have them in all, like, the Hilton Hotel gift shops and stuff, like, I can see, if I'm Print Fresh, I can see where that'd be helpful. But I also agree.
Cute. It's not a cute pattern that they did. I can't even remember it. But
it's
like
I haven't. Yeah, the ones that were on the show.
Oh yeah, the ones that were on the show were great.
Pink and baby blue. No.
Yeah, and of course Kathy is like wearing like one of the least cute pairs of pajamas that they have on their entire website. But I'm pissed. Yeah, I'm pissed. I was really. I even paused it and I said to Josh, I'm like, "Do you see this bullshit? Do you see this bullshit?" Because he knows that Anyway. No one called for me to rant about fucking pajamas.
I literally asked. I literally called for that reason.
Oh, my God.
Then we get into talk about Mauricio, and Kyle reports that she cried looking at their wedding photos, which I don't believe. Again, she's emotionless. I just think this marriage has been over for quite some time, and it's just adjusting to the logistical changes, which are zero so far since nothing financially has changed. Like, they're not in court. There's nothing wrong. And then Kathy does a thing that, like, this is what my family would always, this is how my family attempts to comfort you when you've lost someone you love. It's like, you look like you could be his daughter. He looks terrible. And apparently she's ripping on his gym pics, which are ridiculous. They
are thirst traps AF.
God bless the editors for putting them in, because I was like, this is embarrassing. Again,
I had secondhand embarrassment. Yeah.
He has all daughters. It's like, buddy, you don't need to do this. You're known as like the hottest house husband. Like, you don't need to take it to this level. It's very weird.
Oh my God.
And Kyle says, don't be mean. That doesn't make me feel good. And Kathy goes, I thought it would.
And just to like refresh everyone's memory, Kathy has had a hard on for this man ever since Mauricio. They were in a lawsuit because Mauricio was part of the Hilton and Highland, right, real estate company, probably because of Kathy being married to Kyle. So he was hooked up with that job. And then he allegedly poached clients, and I think poached agents too.
Probably, but I also, that's how, and I don't know, like, that's how.
But Kathy is the daughter of Big Kathy, and she's also a billionaire. So, like, hell hath no
I just
fury.
thought
no.
Yes. But I guess what's interesting to me is that Kathy made this about herself. Her sister's marriage of 30 years is over.
Yeah.
And Kathy is making this about her feelings about Mauricio. And Kyle said, don't be mean, that doesn't make me feel good. And Kathy just goes, I thought it would, as opposed to saying, like, I'm sorry, honey, this is about you tonight. And I didn't. That was out of line.
It's not about me and my pajama
Not tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, but it is. It's about my vendetta against Mauricio and my pajama collab.
Always.
We go.
Gross, dude. Gross. Sutton tells Kyle to have a poker face. Listen, I know what I'm talking about. My ex was powerful, and I was a deer in headlights. And Erika chimes in, if I did anything, I trusted too much. Kathy says, make sure you're protected. You brought a lot to the table. She did. They got married when they were 23, or she was 23. She did a lot.
She did. And
she did a lot to support
enjoy
him.
the next decade fighting about it in court. This is what the court case will be. He wouldn't have been a real estate agent at all if I hadn't hooked him up with my family. But I started the agency on my own, and that is mine. And there is no 50% owed to her. She's never set foot in the place. She's just profited. Blah, blah. It's going to be a decade of that. Like,
I mean, but the thing
she's right. But like, enjoy your pissed off spouse hiring lawyers to ruin your,
We only know about Mauricio though because of Kyle. Because she was a housewife.
Again, this will all be fascinating court back and forth.
Yes,
my point is,
it will be.
Kyle is saying we're different.
Yeah.
I hear about nasty divorces, not us.
Our marriage
I hope
wasn't
I hope he signs over 50% after you humiliated him on camera, got 15,000 facelifts while he went into the office every day and worked. Like, this is not going to, if he chooses to fight you, you are in for it. This is going to be a long battle.
But we have been hearing the rumors of infidelity since Lisa Vanderpump was on the show. And it's been how long? So I think that there's skeletons in his
closet.
Are.
It'll just be about how much Mauricio wants to torture Kyle. If he's over it and happy and he just wants to move on, he can sign away half and live his life. But I cannot think of a single example where any man was like, you know what? Shrug. Here's 50%.
Dude.
It's just, I hope she's right. I would love for that to be the case. But and everybody, I've had friends who are like, it would hurt the kids if he did that. He would never want to hurt his kids. Watch. He did.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they don't care. They just want to punish the wife or the partner who wasn't in the workplace earning the money. Because it is hard. Working is hard. And like, they're not home to see how hard it is on the other side. Anyways, it just gets really, I don't know. I'm really worried about how convinced Kyle is that a line in an autobiography that was probably ghostwritten is, if she thinks that's going to, the forensic accounting is going to be overridden by a line in a book, we're in trouble.
Oh my God, the forensic accounting. Ay, ay, ay. The women.
Yeah, look at that. Look at Shannon and John.
Yeah, dude.
They were in a loving relationship, and all of a sudden they're both posting all over the place. It's just absurd. Anyways.
The women leave, and Kyle dramatically closes the pocket doors to Mauricio's office to bad Selling Sunset style of music.
Yeah.
So drama. So drama. Oh, she's so repugnant, dude.
That was silly.
Yikes.
And then, in the least silly scene possible, we go to Wagyu beef tartare and oyster night with Dorit and PK. And PK just comes in on a tear. He's like, I'll have a non-alcoholic beer and some bread and fries. And I was like, oh my God, this man is sober, but like, he's not okay.
Yeah, after he arrives in a brand new Bentley and he's strutting his stuff as he walks out of that car and into the restaurant. Strutting. He's strutting. Single PK. They have announced their separation. Okay, wait. Before we go there, I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on non-alcoholic beer? When my dad was first getting sober, like at that point, like it wasn't like you weren't supposed to be drinking non-alcoholic beers if you were really working on your sobriety. But I don't know if things have changed. And like,
no,
I don't get mad at Kyle or at Carl when he orders. I feel like Carl has ordered non-alcoholic beer.
He's in the non-alc space.
He is in the non-alc space. I fucking love the non-alc space. But like, I feel like Carl's sobriety is actually a real thing that I can trust. And again, I have no reason to trust this man. I'm just saying that, like, as a watcher of Summer House, I became a fan of Carl Radke.
But you do. His brother died of the
sickness. His brother died.
Of addiction. So, like, Carl's not fucking around. He's got a real clear glimpse of the road ahead if he's not tending to this.
And he always, like, he told us that, like, I get up in the morning, I exercise, and I meditate. And that is what keeps me sober. Oof, just saying it, I could choke up. Because I remember, like, dude, Carl, why are you working so hard, man? You're in the Hamptons. But he's going to go out on that run, and he's going to come home and meditate. And I'm like, holy shit, he's working the threefold parts. the physical, spiritual, and emotional parts of a program of recovery. And that just like endeared him to me. I don't know if PK is getting up. And listen, it's not it's not up to me to like say what PK is doing, like what he's doing for his sobriety to like make it count. But I don't know. I just wanted to get your opinion on the non-alcoholic beer because I was like, I don't know. I don't know if you should be doing that.
All I can share is my experience, which is my dad, who has never recovered from the illness, went through spells of drinking 6 packs of O'Douls.
Yes.
And it very quickly led right back to Wild Turkey.
Yeah.
Like there's,
Yep.
I don't, it doesn't, not that sobriety has to be some like pure thing, but like there's an agitation that PK was exhibiting as well that I recognize.
Oh my God. Yes.
Which feels like if he had a drink, he would relax, and it like just trying to get a non-alcoholic, blah, blah, like it just is like there's so much untamed energy there that does not feel like recovery.
Agreed, man.
But I don't know.
Agreed. So yeah, Dorit arrives and she's very warm to him, and PK is just like he says later, like a few minutes later, like he's just edgy. He's
ready to be done. He's there to have a breakup conversation.
Right.
She's there to have a can we work this out conversation. And Dorit, by the way, PK orders O'Douls, bread, fries, Wagyu beef tartare, and oysters. And Dorit orders vodka and kale.
A kale chopped salad. I was like, oh my God.
Amazing.
I know that people love a kale chopped salad. I don't understand the appeal of eating a green that is so fucking tough. And people can tell me like, well, if the olive oil is massaged into it really nicely, then, and I'm like, bullshit. Anyway, who cares?
My theory on kale is that, and this again is coming from someone in recovery, but from an eating disorder.
Yes.
Is that I think people who eat kale, it resists you. So you have to chew a lot. So it looks like you're eating a lot and you're not.
Oh,
so
Margie.
but maybe that's my like wannabe anorexic brain being like, oh, if I could be anorexic, I would order kale because then I could just chew for hours on end because it's legitimate. It requires so much chewing to get a piece of lettuce down.
Oh my God.
So
that is
to
a
me,
great
it's
point.
like
that is a great point. That's
anyways.
a great point. Yes.
Speaking of anorexia, which is not on the table, but PK does mention that he's skinny right now. And then he stands up to show off his new jacket. And then he wildly, rudely says like, single PK. He just like throws it out at Dorit, who looks appropriately shocked.
I gasped. He said what the youth say. He said the quiet part out loud. Single PK to his wife.
Aggressive. But they went back and forth. You can see how they fight. So he's pissed at her and wants to hurt her. So he gets up and says, look how good I look. I'm single. Fuck you. And he's like, and I'm skinny right now. And she goes, not if you keep eating like that. And it's like, so nobody said anything with a fuck or a bitch or any of that in it. But wow, you both really fucking cut each other off at the knees. I'm single. Fuck you.
Yep.
You could get fat in a second, asshole. Like, I can just hear, you can feel how much resentment is just fucking boiling between the two of them. It was vile.
She would nitpick his food. Like we've seen, like, don't eat the chips, only eat a few chips. Why'd you get pizza? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
so that's
shit,
like a pattern of hateful commentary that he hates. Yeah.
Therein lies, oh God.
Whatever.
Therein lies the fact that it's like Dorit has her part. Dorit has her part. She is the Al-Anon to his alcoholic, but she has a part. She says, like, he doesn't know how hurtful it is to have him say that to me.
Yes, he does.
But, like, she didn't say
posit.
anything,
But it's shocking. That's the thing. I mean, and again, I'm projecting all of my shit onto this, but he knows that would shock her into silence.
Yeah.
There's cameras there. She doesn't, and he's made a fool of her. by saying single PK because he knows she's there with a different energy and he's there to be like, eat shit, you're on your own, bitch. Like, you can call me if you have a real problem, but otherwise I hate you. I don't like you. Let me be as clear as I can. I don't like you. You asked me to clarify. I don't like you. Like, he's so mean, but in that like really cutting way that you almost can't identify. It's like when you get slapped and it doesn't start stinging until like 5 minutes later.
Dude, seriously.
So it's like she got slapped and she's like, huh? And then she's going to get in the car and be like, ow.
Yeah, you're right. And then he says he feels edgy. And I was like, is that maybe why he said it? Well, no shit. But like, he said he didn't know how badly he had this disease. And he's clear now why they made their decision to separate. And you're my best friend and my wife, and we don't talk to each other nicely. We fight so bad that if we talked to the server that way, we'd be thrown out. Ooh.
I believe every word of that. And
Absolutely.
I believe that they should not be together. And I think this dinner was just proof of why. Like, they can't communicate.
Mm-hmm.
The only time they really connected is when they were mean to each other. The only time they really like sat still and made eye contact is when she said, not if you keep eating like that. And when he said single PK, like, it's just mean. They're just driven to hurt each other. It's sad.
Single PK, man.
He just moves on to like, I don't question the love, but we don't like each other.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, well, no, and then he's like, let me be clear. There are times I don't like you. Correct. And he did say, and I don't want to not like you. And so it is right for us to separate.
And I just like, yeah, PK, it's real hard to fucking like an active alcoholic. And it's really hard to like a dry drunk. And a dry drunk, again, to refresh everyone's memory, is someone that they're not drinking, but they're not doing anything to take care of the reasons why they drank in the first place. And that is living with an alcoholic. I wouldn't wish it on people. It is an awful, terrible feeling. You're living in a hotbed of like resentment and misery. You're walking on eggshells. You have a foundation of like lies. It's just chaos coming at you constantly. It's unstable. There's rage. There's resentment. You survive in an alcoholic home. You don't thrive in an alcoholic fucking home. Yeah, she doesn't like you and you don't like her. That's
but
why.
Again, it takes it when you're the adult in this situation. Everything you said is absolutely true for kids, but when you're the adult,
yes, you're right.
Dorit needs to go to Al-Anon. Dorit needs to get therapy. Dorit and weirdly, PK's right. She is codependent.
Mm-hmm.
Her identity is wrapped up in micromanaging his food, his drinking, his parenting, his travel, his blah blah blah, and like she is having. I feel for her. It's going to be really hard because he just rips that away from her in one fell swoop here. He's like, no, we're not going to talk ever again. And she was like, huh? And then he did what we talked about at the beginning where he says, I made the change you wanted, the big change you wanted. I stopped drinking and you didn't change how you fight. And then we get to hear a little bit, which is so Dorit just softened the blow trying to quote to us what they say to each other. And I'm like, oh my God, you do not just say like, you're going to fall off a chair drunk. You're going to be alone forever. It's so much darker and just like ripping into each other. Like,
yeah.
And she said they went from just screaming at each other to screaming curse words at each other to taking violent personal digs. And then Dorit said something that broke my little adult child of an alcoholic heart. She said to PK, when you get angry, you can't snap out of it. And I was like, oof, that is a relatable moment.
Dude, totally. And then he just like, this is one of the things that made me think, I don't have faith in this man's recovery. I don't think he's hit his rock bottom at all yet. We'll see. He might continue again to not ingest the alcohol, but the changes that he needs to make, I don't know. He said, I used to be your number one. And what I want from a real marriage, even above the kids, is I think the spouse should be number one. You used to be socially vibrant and busy with him, and you're not that anymore. I was the global titan of industry, he says, essentially. You made me feel less than. You made me feel emasculated. And she said that's the last thing I wanted. But it's like, listen, PK, alcoholics are fucking exhausting. And they take a toll on the family, like I just said. And your behavior contributed to her change. When you live with an alcoholic, you're fucking exhausted.
Also,
you don't want to go out at night. And they had kids. Like
that's what I was going to say.
You know, like
what
they
contributed
grew.
to that is you made her a mom.
Dude.
Of 2.
Exactly.
So she's not available. And I'm sorry, but that's the Jim Bellino thing of but that's what he said. It goes
Totally.
God, husband, kids. And maybe that's true, but it's a really cruel thing to throw at someone who had the sole responsibility of raising your kids. I think that can be true if both parents are equally invested in raising the kids. But when someone's in London for months at a time and storming out of the house and not reliable except to abandon you on a whim, then you don't get to say that. You brought 2 dependents into this world. Your priorities need to change. You shouldn't be as vibrant and social until those kids have been properly raised. It's such a weird, it's almost like they don't exist. And again, this is all my old stuff. Beth Crosby and I talked about this of like, this is our dad. It's just like I don't know if they never wanted us or what happened, but like we were a source of resentment.
Completely.
And that the fact that we took any time, attention, or money was a problem. It was a nightmare for them. And it's like, I didn't ask to be here, guys.
Dude.
Like, did you just want me for a Christmas card? Because like, I can't figure out that role. I'm still going to be hungry and stuff in between Christmas card picture sessions. Like, what the fuck?
I don't think I ever felt wanted at all by my
father.
father.
Mom, I did. By my dad,
I think he was just,
maybe he wanted boys or something. I don't know what the fuck happened, but he was just like,
I mean,
these are loud and they whine and they're sticky and they fight and go away. And it was just a lot of Margaret, a lot of yelling.
My dad would
so
say
he just went away
all the time, children are meant to be seen and not heard. And he thought he was hilarious because he would say it with like this, quote unquote funny voice. But like he meant it. And we were quiet. We were quiet because we were terrified if we weren't quiet.
You cannot be obedient enough for an active alcoholic, in my experience.
You're absolutely right, dude.
My sister and I too, we put on the dresses that we were told to. We smiled. We were told not to talk about what goes on in the house. We didn't. We were lovely. We presented beautifully. And you don't get rewarded for that once you get home. Once you get home, you're that kid again who's like, needs a fucking bath again. It's like, sorry about it. Like, I don't know, who needs money for point shoes again?
Oh my God.
Sorry about it. Like, God.
Oh my God.
Anyways, he did not mention the children like at all. He basically said, I was rich and important. I brought you with me. And so to me, the read on that is, and so you owe me what I want, especially because I did what you asked. And in nowhere in that equation are those 2 young children. They can't take care of themselves yet. Nobody can drive yet. Like, oh my God, dude.
No one does self-centered like a fucking alcoholic. Nobody does it as well as an alcoholic.
This whole scene was real painful.
It was real painful. I feel it right now in my throat. Shit. Ugh.
Oh, Evelyn just whimpered from the bedroom.
Evelyn.
She must feel it too. But PK, again, he is right to say they need to break the codependency. So in his defense, he's very clear with her, saying, we will not be talking 5 times a day anymore. If you're in grave need, you call me. And if I'm in grave need, I will call you. Otherwise, we're done. And you can see it sort of land on Dorit, like the reality of like, oh, shit, he's not going to try and win me back. Like, this is done. However, I'll say what, I've said to other friends of mine who've been in this situation. It's like, but you've always been on your own. This isn't new. It's not like he was reliable or dependable. You would need him for something, then you'd fight, then he'd disappear, and then you'd need him for something. Like, that's not a reliable partner.
Oh my God, dude, you're right. You're right.
he just proved himself as someone who can only say me, 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 me. So he was never going to help you. He hasn't helped you with the kids. And the reason he said single PK so easily is because he had a head start. He's been out of that house for years. He's been single PK. He's been ramping up to it at least. So he got the jacket to seal the deal.
And I don't believe him for a minute that he's doing it because he wants to break the cycle of codependency in the moment.
I think that's language he learned, and it's true. But I think he's just done. And
totally,
he's like, I want away from you. You're annoying.
This is a breakup conversation.
Yeah.
And he's using all the fucking platitudes that you pick up in a meeting. This disease, I got clear, codependency, and he's using it in a way that is not intended use. He's using it off-label, I would argue.
I mean, it does apply, but I just don't believe it's coming from a pure, honest place in him.
That's what I'm saying.
It's sort of how I feel about Ryan and Jen in Real Housewives of Orange County. Like, he says all the right things that apply to the scenario that they're in, but it doesn't feel earnest. It doesn't feel like it's coming from a whole place. It feels like it's just words he heard that are good in this moment.
And poor Dorit, man, she's stunned and cannot believe what she's hearing because she thought they were friendly. And I was like, oh, you were in denial.
And she tries to hug and kiss him goodbye, and he's like pulling away.
Oh, God.
It was so sad.
Oh, God. Oh, it was palpable, dude. It was palpable.
Because she, again, at the beginning of this episode, thought there was a shot at reconciliation. So she's, in this one scene, is having to come to terms with that is not on the table. It is not on the table. He is done.
He's so done.
Ugh.
He's done. Wow. I mean, single PK, man. The house husband heard round the world. That was gnarly. It was so gnarly. Yeah, I mean, 2 episodes out of 2, and they're both bangers, as the youth said. Like, those
so
were
much going on.
Emotional roller coasters. Yes. And then I think that, we said we were going to chat about the Mary and Robert Jr. scene from Wednesday's episode of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, which was heartbreaking. Heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I mean, really and truly just so, I've never seen anything like that on Bravo before in my life, I don't think.
I mean, I said it to you before, like, I was so, like, whatever else Mary Cosby has done or does, this moment is invaluable that she and Robert Jr. put this on camera for everyone to see, because this is the best of what reality TV is.
Mm-hmm.
A young man suffering with suicidal ideation, devolving into addiction. And he was so honest, and I said this to you as well, he spoke so beautifully to how insidious addiction is. He said to her, at 16, I experimented with pot, and I said, I'm only going to do natural things, pot and mushrooms. Then at a party, someone handed him a Xanax. Then he loved Xanax so much, he combined it with every other drug, from Molly to cocaine to everything else. And he wanted to die. He didn't care if he lived or died. And he said the only reason he didn't actively kill himself is because of Mary, which is so sad. The whole thing is so sad and so honest, and her reaction too and just listening to him instead of saying, like, don't feel like that. Don't do. She just like heard him and asked him to tell his story, and he did. And I get it. Honestly, when he said life is unseasoned chicken, I was like, fuck yes.
Dude.
You're not wrong. Like, I don't know what to say to that. Life is unseasoned chicken sometimes, but you can't use drugs as seasoning because they lose their flavor too.
They do.
Like he said, he was taking 10, what was it, Xanax or
something
I think else?
At some point he pivoted to OxyContin, didn't he?
That's what it was. He was taking 10 30 milligram oxys, and he didn't feel a thing. 10. That's a handful. You can't get that prescription after a surgery. That's so much. And that's the thing. Like that seasoning isn't going to work on your chicken for very long. Like that's the problem with drugs is you build a tolerance and then life is unseasoned chicken and then you want to die. I mean,
He cried. He cried. We saw tears falling down his face.
I loved him.
I did too. I had so much sympathy for him and empathy. Mm-hmm.
And he also talked about how, like, it's not, he went from the party drug scene to what he was explaining to her in the moment that he's now on a cycle where he needs a Xanax to calm down and an Adderall to wake up. Like he cannot function without these drugs. And that will require help. And there is help. But like she said, I need you to acknowledge it's a problem. I will support you, but I can't do that work for you, which is so heartbreaking and so true.
I know.
And it doesn't look like, I couldn't tell. I appreciated him not just appeasing her and saying, yeah, I'm ready for a change, Ma. He literally looked like, I don't know.
Yeah, he did.
I don't fucking blame him.
I don't either.
And that's addiction. Mm-hmm. And that is so fucking devastating.
Yep.
Because my biggest fear, like, you know, with anyone is like, I know people will experiment. I did, but I didn't experiment in the age of fentanyl. Fuck.
No,
like
kidding.
That is the piece that you don't take a Xanax bar at a party from someone. You don't anymore. You can't. You can, but it's fucking Russian roulette. It makes me so anxious.
It does. It makes me so anxious.
But if someone had told me to not do that shit, I don't know if you know what I mean?
It terrifies me.
I don't know. Me too.
It's my motivation. Honestly, it's one of my biggest motivations to be like the very best parent I can be. Because I don't want my kid to.
But it's not a reflection on a parent.
I know I shouldn't think that. I know I shouldn't think that. But like, I can't help it because it's like I stayed away from drugs and alcohol for a spell because I was so afraid of turning into my dad.
Same. I didn't do drugs till I was in my 30s.
Yeah, I mean, I did cannabis like recreationally. Well, I mean, it's still recreational, but it's like, you know, I didn't even know how to fucking buy it. And now that it's legal and I can just go to a dispensary and get it, like ain't no thing, but it's like I didn't know how to buy cocaine. I didn't know how to buy pot. I didn't know how to do any of that shit. And now it just seems like it's real easy, apparently.
Oh, it's all online. You can get shit anywhere from and it's just handed out at parties, and that's the part that makes me nervous. It's just so, you know, I don't know.
I guess
sorry, go ahead.
No, I guess I also think that like if I love my kid enough, if I practice being honest and humble with him enough, if I practice being a safe space for him enough, maybe he will say no when it's passed around at a party when he's older.
Yeah. I mean,
you know, and I know that there's nothing I can fucking do about it now. I had a kid.
Well,
you know?
But it's interesting that you say that, like me, you, my sister, we were raised in chaos that was born from all of these things like drugs and alcohol. And for me to feel like safe and in control, I couldn't do those things in excess, you know, like I would get drunk, but like I knew when I was gonna, you know, I never lost all. Like, to me, acid had no appeal. Psychedelics, I was like, fuck no, I don't want to go to a different world because I have to be here.
Yeah.
Because if something goes wrong, I'm the only one who can fucking manage it.
Totally.
And that is a sad result of our upbringing. And I think it's really challenging for my friends' kids. They weren't raised in alcoholism, so they're not scared of it the way we were.
Oh, shit.
But it's better. Like, that's a good thing. But it's just the world is so weird, and fentanyl is such a... But again, I don't know. I don't know. The kids are going to experiment. It's just, I don't know what to say.
It terrifies me. It terrifies me.
And especially because there's addiction in our families that I just... Mm-hmm. But you can't, there's nothing, no one could have told me not to do any of the shit I did.
You're right.
Because they did tell me not to, you know, and I did what I wanted because that's how you learn. That's how you grow up. And
Oh my God.
I don't know.
Scares the shit out of me.
I know. But that's why I loved that this conversation aired, because I think I texted it to you, like, this is one of the most relatable parent-child conversations that is probably not had enough.
Agreed.
I think a lot of parents and children might think about broaching this topic, but just don't. So, like, so much love to Mary for going in there and sitting and hearing that. I can't imagine how devastating that is. And so much love to Robert Jr. for clearly telling the whole truth.
Mm-hmm.
Just substance by substance, feeling by feeling, and not committing to anything.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't have been honest.
Yeah.
He's not. I think he did
such a good
wind
point,
up
Margie.
going to rehab, but it may take a few tries. It often does. They always
Yeah.
say relapse is part of recovery.
Mhm.
He's so fucking young. I don't know how you start, Anyways,
Oof.
fucking unseasoned chicken, man.
Unseasoned chicken.
He really landed on something poetic right there.
He did.
But people can be your seasoning. Friends, activities. There's
Yep.
other things.
There are. Mm-hmm.
There's other highs. There really are.
There are. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Whew. And what, it feels weird to say. What else did you watch this week, friend? What palate cleansers did you reach for after that episode aired?
I watched, you know what I watched? I watched the Great British Bakeoff. Talk about a palate cleanser. That is the nicest, sweetest show in the whole wide world. Yes,
We're gonna be chatting about the Great British Bakeoff.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. So fast forward a few minutes.
I'm absolutely in love with every cast member on every season. It is an example of, like, people with innate gifts who take a risk and are kind to each other. And everyone enjoys the experience no matter how short or long they stay. It's just beautiful. It's physically beautiful. Like, the setting is absolutely gorgeous. It's in these, like, green rolling hills in England somewhere. And everyone's so nice. And the woman who won has ADHD. And she's
bless.
like, she talked about, like, she had a full freak out in the semifinals and like almost left the tent. She's like, I don't understand the directions. I cannot understand the directions. I can't do this. I'm going to leave. And so she started to leave, and one of the hosts brought her back. And then 10 minutes later, she was joking about, like, I'm going to leave. Can you believe that? Can you believe I was like, I'm going to leave because I can't read the directions. It's like, she has this real sense of, like, she talked about how it's not like self-doubt ever goes away. She just does it anyway. And she fucking won. And I was like, hooray. It was really great. What else did you watch?
I watched, since we last met, I watched The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, obviously. We just talked about that. I watched New York. Again, can't remember a goddamn thing except for Jenna Lyons saying that she had a hall pass.
Oh, amazing.
She didn't use when she and Raquel were having a very flirty scene in an art gallery. Yeah, so that was funny. I finished watching Nobody Wants This on Netflix with
Oh, yeah.
Brody and, what's her name? Kristen, what's her name?
Belle?
Yes,
Brody.
thank you. Yes.
Adrian?
Yes.
No, what's his name?
Adam?
Adam Brody.
Ryan? Yes.
Adam Brody. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, so that I ended up liking a lot more. And then last night, I really wanted like something fluffy, but I didn't want to like watch a series. So I put on Our Little Secret on Netflix with Lindsay Lohan and Kristen Chenoweth.
Oh.
And it's like a Christmas movie, but it's not as like G-rated as like something on
Hallmark.
like Netflix. Yeah, like a Hallmark or Lifetime. And Kristen Chenoweth just continues to charm the fucking pants off of me. She's so funny. She's so good at playing evil. There were some SNL alum, and it was just really, I can't recommend it enough. If you're looking for something to watch that's even more like, I don't even think you need your phone to like scroll while you're watching that movie. I think it's entertaining enough on its own.
What's it called again?
Our Little Secret, I believe. I
Oh.
believe it's called Our Little Secret.
And it's
Yeah.
on Netflix?
It's on Netflix.
All right, I'll look that up.
And I love a fucking Christmas movie, and just like I thought it was so funny. I thought it was just like right. It was like what the doctor ordered.
Yeah.
Last night, So,
Awesome.
yeah. Yeah. And what was your antidepressant this week, friend, or since we last met?
Oh, what's my antidepressant? My antidepressant, I think my antidepressant, I would say, is like fresh flowers. I'll be honest. It's I'm trying to think of something more profound, but the truth is, I love a fresh flower. I have them all the time. I have in the other room these like beautiful, like robust hydrangeas that are just absolutely gorgeous. It's my favorite flower.
I love them.
Yeah. And I don't know. There's just something about like fresh life. I have roses and Gerber daisies and stuff as well. And like I got them right before Thanksgiving and they just make me feel they are an antidepressant. I don't know. It sounds so silly. Like I like flowers, but
it does not. It doesn't.
I love coming home and the first thing I see is like fresh flowers. They're beautiful.
I love it. Yes. No,
How about you?
No.
What was your antidepressant?
It's been really nice having Leo home from school this week, and it's been really chill. And this could be like me trying to, well, no, I know that it is. I have this really big attachment to nostalgia, especially like around the holidays. And I really like want to give Leo traditions that like I didn't have because I feel like it will add to like the magic of the season and all this stuff. And it's like, Leo didn't ask for that. He might grow up and be like, Mom, you were fucking full on, dude, around Christmas. And like, you didn't have to be. Like, it was fine just the way it was. But, we watched a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving and a Charlie Brown Christmas. And we watched, God, what else did we watch? Oh, we watched The Dog Show, like I said earlier. And it's just been really nice to just like kind of like nest with my family this week. Very chill, very quiet. We're about to enter a very busy time of the year. So it's been nice. It's been really
That's really nice.
Really nice. Yeah.
Did all three of you like watch this movie?
Oh yeah.
Was it like a family affair?
Yes,
oh,
it's a family affair.
Sweet.
Yeah. I think that. I try to watch all those damn cartoons every year, even by myself, because they just, my inner child really, really likes them.
Yeah.
And I like to honor her when I can, especially when it's that easy, It's real easy to charm her and honor her with Christmas decorations and Christmas cartoons.
I love that.
So that's what I did, and that's what I'll do until I put that shit away in January. So, yeah.
I think that's awesome.
Yay. Well, everyone, we have come to the end of another episode of A Therapeutic Dose. Thank you so much for joining us. If you could rate, review, and subscribe, we would really appreciate it. Pass this on to your friends. You can always find us online at A Therapeutic Dose on Instagram, or you can email us at atherapeuticdose@gmail.com. I also started a Blue Sky for us, Margie. I don't remember if I told you or not, but
no, that's great.
But I did. So we have that handle before anyone else grabbed it. Not that anyone would, but you never know. And so you can find us on Blue Sky as well. There. Fuck you, Elon. Had to get it in. I'm not cured yet, Margie. I am not cured yet.
Me neither. Are you kidding? My God. But we will talk more next week. So until then, everybody take really good care of yourselves.
Take good care.
And
honor your inner child.
Yeah.
Honor your inner child.
It's a great little assignment. I'm going to think about,
Yes.
Things like fun, cute, playful, happy things.
Yeah.
That I can do to.
Yeah. All right, everyone. We'll talk later.
Bye.
Bye.
Ramona and Margie are obviously not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom isn't a doctor.